Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It's Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, coming to you from our studio at Techtown. I'm Chair Stays, and today we're talking about the work of the Downtown Boxing Gym, helping youth turn a corner in Detroit. There are some big developments with them, so I caught up with Khali, Sweeney, and Peter Feezey to talk about it. Then we're going to get into 3 stories you need to know around town. Let's get started after we thank our sponsor, CityBird. Are you looking for the perfect gift that celebrates Detroit and Michigan? I know from personal experience that you can find something special for everyone on your list at CityBird. Unique, thoughtful, and local, CityBird has it all. For instance, classic engraved neighborhood rocks glasses with your choice of one of 60 Detroit neighborhoods for a touch of elegance. CityBird also offers a curated selection of jewelry, candles, home goods, and apparel by hundreds of local and independent makers. You can find that perfect gift for that special someone. And do not forget the cards. Here, let me tell you, the cards for any occasion are truly special. Visit CityBird today and make a new memory, not just by buying gifts, but enjoying the city while you do it. Located in Detroit at 460 West Canfield, between Cass and 2nd Avenues in Midtown, or online at citybirddetroit.com. That's citybirddetroit.com. All right, let's get started with our feature conversation, then some stories around town. Joining me virtually, a pair of very interesting people that are key parts of the DBG. You might know it as the Downtown Boxing Gym. Khali, Sweeney, and Peter Feezey, welcome to Daily Detroit, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Chair.
Absolutely. So for the uninitiated, the DBG, look, I think there was a thing in the past where people are like, oh, it's a boxing program, but there is like so much more to what's going on since you all started in 2007. Can either of you kind of give me a little bit of that story and a bit of that evolution?
It is what it always started out to be, which is a safe place for young people in our community to go get resources. And it's like a launching platform for careers and for life. And so through the sport, we use the sport as the icebreaker to the bigger conversations that they need to have so we can figure out where we can come in and help them at to get to where they're trying to go. And so we've gained a lot of support from the community, corporations, and foundations throughout our journey to where we are today.
That's got to feel very empowering to step out like that and then be able to see people kind of rally behind the mission. And of course, that's backed up by a lot of work. Do you have any kind of things you can share on just how many have been through this program and some of the impacts?
Well over 1,000 people have been through the program. I mean,
wow,
we're out there. We've been doing this now for me, myself personally, for over 17 years, but DBG as just an entity on paper for close to 16 years now. I actually started out doing this, outside in the park. And from the park, I ended up finding the building, and from the building to where we are right now currently, it was a journey. And to see the city rally behind something that we all believe that in our children and our young people, they are the future to this city and to this country. To the world, actually. And so, we have to invest in them to, make sure they carry on.
100%. Was there a spark moment or something where you're like, oh, this is the way I'm going to get people to be interested in all this stuff and build this stuff out? How did you discover that for yourself?
If I'm hearing you correctly, what was the spark for me to get other people to rally behind it?
Yeah, like when you saw it, you're like, oh, this is the way that we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, that was apparent immediately for me, because I noticed, whenever the kids would see me working out, they would always ask me a bunch of questions. And I was like, well, let me ask you some questions while you're asking me questions. So I asked questions right back. And so I found out what they really needed in that moment. So, I started trying to get those resources to remove those barriers out of their way so that they could be successful members of the community.
Yeah, it's really great to see that work over the years. And you're on the east side of the city now, correct? Like there's a facility and all that for those who don't know.
Yeah, so we started out east, just right past I-75 freeway on the east side. And then we went a little bit further, which is about 2 miles down into the Eastern Market area. So we're on East Vernon between Mount Elliott and the street called Buffet.
The thing that we're talking about today, or one of the things we're talking about today, is that you all got the attention of Mackenzie Scott, the philanthropist, who has been doing a lot of great work around the country. And at first it was going to be, as I understand it, $1 million gift, but then looked to do even more after seeing what you all were all about. What was that moment like to get that information? Because I've heard of a few people who have kind of gotten touched by what she does, and it's sometimes a surprise at first, you know?
The really interesting thing about DBG and what has been remarkable when Khali founded this organization and started doing the work 17 years ago, and even before that in different capacities, he was always looking for the ability to identify the efficacy of the work that's happening. How do we know we're doing the things that matter the most to the students and the young people and the families that we're serving? And how do we measure those things in ways that are meaningful and have key identifiers of lifelong persistence? Having meaningful conversations and relationships with everyone that we're working with and supporting has been a key component of the organization. And then advancing that to having strict measurement protocols and evaluation as part of our program for over the last decade through the utilizing expert research are some of the things that helped DBG rise a little bit to the top. In the reference you're talking about is the yield giving open call, which Mackenzie and her team partnered with Lever for Change for the first time since she's been supporting organizations and doing philanthropy in a more systematized and structured way. And through that process, when they made this available last year and asked organizations to submit applications, the starting point was 250 organizations will receive $1 million, and those organizations will be reviewed and vetted, and through that process, determine which ones are deemed fit to receive the $1 million. And in the process, almost 7,000 organizations applied from all over the country. And to Mackenzie's team and others that were participating realized, wow, there's a tremendous demand, but there's also certain organizations that are really identifying significant and lasting impact and have the potential to scale in meaningful ways, DBG being one of those organizations. So they evolved their vetting and review process to pull in other partners and increase the dollar amounts that they gave to those organizations that were highly rated, DBG being one of those. I think there was a total of 9 in the state of Michigan, maybe 6 in the city of Detroit that received those funds, and we were one of a handful that received the $2 million gift, which was amazing.
That is amazing. And what are some of the plans for the money?
Well, we are a planning organization, and Khali and the leadership team and all of us here at DBG are never resting on, the last win or the last positive news, which is as great as it is. There is a tremendous demand here in Detroit. Unfortunately, we are currently at capacity in our current facility and have over 2,000 kids and students and their families that are on our wait list looking to get into the program because they have a desire to have options and have a better future. And so we are always working at looking to meet that demand of, yes, the students and families on our wait list, but just the demand from our young people around the country. And so we are currently looking to double our capacity in Detroit. We need to build a new building, get another few hundred kids into the program, in addition to supporting the broader community in meaningful ways. So that gift from Mackenzie Scott will be part of the dollars that we need to expand our campus and expand our capacity and infrastructure here in Detroit.
Oh, wow. So what's the end goal with this as far as for that campus? What are you looking to raise in total?
In order to double the capacity at DBG here in Detroit, that's not just a capital need. Obviously, we need space to get individuals into the program, but we also need the infrastructure and the people to maintain the level of impact that we've been able to provide for the last 17 years. So there's programming and infrastructure and sustainable work that needs to happen in order to get student enrollment increased. So that need over the next 5 years or so has been identified as about $50 million. And that would enable us to increase our capacity by two and get the right infrastructure in place to sustain that work and continue to accelerate how we're bringing valuable services to the community.
So I think my next question is probably for Khali, but jump in, Peter, if it makes sense. The graduation rate on this program is 100%. 98% of students go on to college or career training. Those are huge numbers, even in some of the most affluent districts that you're going to find in Michigan. What are a couple of the keys to how you make that all happen over there?
It's identifying first what's going on. If you have a kid that's in the 12th grade and he's reading that, or she's reading at a 5th grade level, the school system is not able to go back to the 1st grade or the 2nd grade or whatever level. So here we have the flexibility to go all the way back to the 1st grade if we have to. If we got to go back to the basics and start over. And so we're seeing our kids jump 2 or 3 grade levels, and they're reading math and other courses and stuff, because we have the flexibility to go back and make a specialized program, especially for that young person. And so that's driving our graduation rates.
That's huge, and that's got to involve some really talented individuals and educators to make that happen, right?
Correct. That's why we go out and try to recruit the best people humanly possible, not just based off your resume, but based off your commitment to the community. I need to know, why are you doing this? And is your end goal to actually move the needle forward in the community? Because if it's not, if you're just for a paycheck, then this is not the job for you.
Yeah, education in these sorts of situations, it comes with a lot of complexities that I think that, people who are just living out there, who don't deal with these issues, they might not understand or even comprehend that it could happen, Khali?
Yeah, for sure. Myself and a lot of guys that I grew up with, we made it through school without even learning how to read or write. I made it all the way through school without learning how to read or write. I see young people right now in the city streets right now. If you talk to them or you find out what's going on with them and you sit down, they can't, some of them can't even read or write. And they're brilliant young people. They are some of the most brilliant young people that I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? Once given the opportunity, I've seen them graduate. I've seen so many people now who started out who couldn't read, now graduating from some of the best colleges in the country and going on to teach in other places themselves. So, given the right resources and somebody caring and taking the time to go back and give you the foundation.
The academic performance of DBG students, while the 100% high school graduation rate is remarkable, in addition to 98% of our kids going on to post-secondary, with a large percentage of those going on to four-year university, the academic intervention that's happening at DBG is a component, but it's not the driver in why those numbers are what they are. Going back to the staff that are stepping into the space to work with the individuals and the young people is really retraining their thinking and their mindset. We have in alternative education and youth development and this type of work in this country, you have relatively stagnant needs, stagnant opportunities, stagnant growth. And the only way that you have true change is to rethink how the individual that's stepping into this space to support the youth are bringing in, any sort of bias or pre-existing narrative, whether that's conscious or subconscious. So, the emphasis in not the what of here's all the things that we do as a program, but the how. What is the methodology and the approach? And it's really that intimate, long-term relationship building between the staff and the students that is allowing for that academic performance, in addition to what we refer to as the extra academic stuff, which is really that social, emotional components. And those are the factors that are determining lifelong persistence. Once a student graduates DBG and they pursue a career and they go on to college, are they equipped and do they have the confidence to persist, through that next step on the journey?
That all makes a lot of sense because, it's a lot of work to get all of this done. What are you looking forward to in 2024 for the downtown boxing gym?
This year is a year full of opportunity, and it's opportunity to grow our continued commitment to the city of Detroit, while we are also looking at our first few key markets in other communities that will be replicating the DBG methodology in their communities, in their youth programs. Those two things are very exciting. Obviously, as we've talked about, and I say regularly, no money, no mission. So fundraising is always a goal. Looking at investing and continuing to invest with strategic partners that are aligned with the long-term vision and want to do this work in the ways that are proven and measured. So forming more of those partnerships is going to be a key indicator of success this year to get that building built and get some kids off our wait list.
Awesome. Well, Peter, Feezey, and Khali Sweeney, I both appreciate your time and efforts with everything you're doing. And thanks for coming on Daily Detroit. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Chair. Appreciate it.
Let's get started with 3 stories to know today. Gleaners Community Food Bank has launched Fresh by Gleaners, a new way to make fresh food more accessible to those in need. The project, located in Warren, Michigan, replicates a retail experience, letting people pick up food when they need it and in the quantities they need. The organization says this helps families manage their budgets and provides a more convenient way for them to access nutritious food. The market will offer items like fresh produce, dairy, and eggs, which are what people have said they need the most. In addition to the in-person shopping option, Fresh by Gleaners will also offer pre-order, curbside pickup, and refrigerated lockers. This allows for an even more convenient experience for those who are food insecure. Fresh by Gleaners is a result of over 5 years of planning and concept testing. This new service is more flexible, providing options for service frequency, timing, and choice than traditional food bank distribution. Construction on the Fresh by Gleaners location will start in early summer of 2024, and it's expected to open in early 2025. The chosen location is based on areas with a high residential population density and high rates of food insecurity. The new site will mainly serve the Warren and Detroit communities. Reports are saying that there's a 20 to 30% increase in demand for emergency food services lately, outpacing the high levels of the pandemic as the cost of housing, food, and utilities are going up higher than salaries, especially on the lower end of the wage scale. And food agencies across southeastern Michigan are calling for more support. At the Warren stamping plant, more than 70% of UAW Local 869 members have voted in favor of a potential strike. The decision came after the company failed to address ongoing health and safety issues at the plant. Workers reported a variety of unresolved problems, including inadequate ventilation, lack of personal protective equipment, and poor sanitation. The union wants these issues fixed so that workers can feel safe and valued at the workplace. The 78-acre plant opened in 1949 and makes key parts for a number of popular Stellantis vehicles. If a strike happens, lines at half a dozen other plants, including those who deal with the Jeep and Ram truck brands, could come to a halt. Despite not having a local contract for about 15 years, the workers hope the strike vote might speed up negotiations. The company has responded, stating that it is committed to a safe work environment and wishes to resolve the issue without a strike. And U.S. Representative Shri Tanadar's community center in Detroit's University District was vandalized with graffiti this week, including the word racist and a call for a ceasefire in reference to the Israeli-Hamas conflict, as well as a red X over the representative's face. The congressman has faced criticism for his stance on the conflict, despite having previously expressed support for Palestinians living in occupied territories. Tanadar describes the act as not just an isolated incident, but ties it to an event last December where pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted a holiday party for the Democratic Party. And that is it for today. It's going to be Yumi in the News, Make 3 tomorrow, Norris Howard on Thursday, and Man About Town, Devin O'Reilly on Friday. Thanks so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. I am Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.